Eala just did something that turns heads in tennis. She walked into the Cincinnati Open as the 17th seed, her highest ever seeding at a WTA 1000 event, and she is about to test that ranking against one of the toughest hitters on tour. Her prize money has already climbed past $735,000 this season alone from Wimbledon, Washington, and Toronto.
Eala has already played more matches than any other player on the WTA Tour this season, and her recent run through Washington and Toronto
Tonight
has
in
only
Mason,
added...
Ohio, she gets a chance to push that number even higher. And the outcome is still completely unknown. 2 days ago, Eala stepped onto the court against Romania's Elena Gabriela Ruse. The match started rough. Eala dropped her opening service game and fell behind 0-1. Then something clicked. She ripped off 9 straight games in a row, taking the first set 6-1 and rushing to a 3-0 lead in the second. Lightning forced a delay around 12:11 p.m. Eastern Time. Officials said play would resume by 1:30 p.m. It never did. Ruse was dealing with a right foot injury and could not continue. The match ended in a retirement, handing Eala the win and a spot in the third round. That win mattered for more than just the scoreline. Back in 2024, Ruse beat Eala in the third qualifying round of the U.S. Open, a loss that cost Eala her first shot at a Grand Slam main draw. This time, Eala flipped the script. The head-to-head between them is now tied at 1-1. For a 21-year-old who has spent the last 2 years climbing past players who once beat her, that kind of payback carries weight far beyond one match. Now here comes the real test. Tonight, Eala faces Amanda Anisimova, the world number 10 and a 2-time Grand Slam finalist. This is their first ever meeting on tour. Anisimova enters as the 9th seed after cruising past Zeynep Sönmez, 6-2, 6-3. She hits some of the cleanest, hardest shots in the entire sport, especially off her two-handed backhand. The match is set for P&G Center Court at the Lindner Family Tennis Center, starting around 8:30 p.m. Eastern. For fans watching from the Philippines, that means the match begins early Tuesday morning, Manila time. Here is why this match means more than a normal third-round clash. Eala has already beaten 7 top 10 players this season. That is not a fluke number, that is a pattern. She has shown over and over that big names do not scare her. She took down world number 3 Jessica Pegula in the final at the Mubadala DC Open in Washington just weeks ago, winning her very first WTA Tour singles title. No player from the Philippines had ever done that before in the history of the sport. That win alone changed how the entire tennis world looks at her. Eala walked through the toughest draw of her career and became the first player from the Philippines to ever win a double E singles title. This isn't hype, this is the real-time rise of a superstar, and the entire tennis world stopped to react. Let's talk about who she beat, because this wasn't a lucky run. In the first round, she took down the Olympic champion, Qinwen Zheng. In the second round, she knocked out the defending champion, Leylah Fernandez. Then she beat Naomi Osaka, a 4-time major champion, and followed that up by eliminating the world No. 1 seed on her way to the final. 3 top seeds gone in a single week. Analysts on the desk called it exactly what it was. She absorbed the power from big hitters like Zheng and Osaka and turned it right back against them, with a return game that's become, in their words, absolutely deadly. Then came the final against Jessica Pegula, and this is where the story gets wild. Pegula came out sharp and took the first set 6-4. Eala clawed back into the second set, winning it on serve, and then the rain hit. Play was suspended. The match got frozen mid-second set, and both players had to walk off, go to bed, and come back the next day to finish at a final that literally spanned 24 hours across 2 separate days. When they resumed, something had shifted. Pegula, who had just 20 unforced errors before the delay, came back out and racked up 30 unforced errors after it, wildly uncharacteristic for a player with her experience. Meanwhile, Eala just got bolder. Analysts described her as fearless, aggressive early in points, cranking up the miles per hour on her forehand, and she closed it out by taking the third set 6-1 to win her first career WTA title. Think about what that means for Pegula too. This was her 23rd career WTA final, and she just went to the negative side of her record, now sitting at 11 wins and 12 losses in title matches. And yet she stood on that podium and, with total class, told the crowd how much Eala has transformed women's tennis. How everyone in the building was there to see her play. That's the kind of sportsmanship that made this moment even bigger. Now let's get inside Eala's head. because her own words after the match are where this story really hits. She said the last 24 hours were a blur. She'd warmed up what felt like 1,000 times waiting through the delay, and when she finally hit that match point, she says she basically blacked out. Everything just came rushing at her at once. She talked about being nervous before the final points and trying to channel that nervous energy into moving her feet and hitting clean committed balls. And when it was over, she dropped straight to the ground. She wasn't just carrying her own dream on her shoulders either. Eala has become a genuine national symbol back in the Philippines. She even received a presidential commendation after her breakout run to the second week at Wimbledon earlier this year. She talked openly about how heavy that recognition can feel in the moment, how overwhelming it is to experience these firsts in real time, but how tennis has been her whole life since she was a kid. And competing under pressure is the one thing she knows how to do no matter what. And her fan base is turning into its own storyline. Exactly 1 year ago, Eala wasn't even in the top 50 of women's tennis. She was ranked 65th in the world. Days before that, she lost in the first round of the Canadian Open. Fast forward 12 months, and she's standing on center court in Washington, D.C., holding her first ever WTA